Eights again, and this time it's the turn of the junior men. It's the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup. This one's been running since 1946, and we've got Shiplake College, local crew on the far station, and all the way from the West Coast, Marin Rowing Association USA. So the local guys and the West Coast Marin crew. Who's got the better start?
Well, from here, we can already see the crew sort of moving out on our left as we watch the screen. And just, again, what's been interesting is we've had more crews winning on that side around this part of the island. Although as we shift, as they come out of the island, sometimes the wind changes quite dramatically. And sometimes when this is what you want, isn't it? You want to see two eights battling out for stroke, just heat of battle, that noise, that richness. And when you're in this race, there is nothing like it.
So both of them have got something to prove here. Shiplake, where we had the National Schools Regatta, was very tricky crosswind conditions, and the crews finished kind of in lane order, so they feel they need to prove that they're on top of the pile of all the school crews here. And Marin, well, you don't come halfway across the planet with an intent anything other than to win. As we move down the course, still not yet live, but catching up with the race, we've got Shiplake have eased out to maybe half a length.
Yeah, from here it looks like, and again they've just settled that, that slightly more relaxed rhythm. They won't be completely comfortable. They haven't got clear away, but they have got a very obvious lead compared to where they were just past the island, and they'll be just looking to inch that out constantly down the course.
So Shiplake on Tuesday beat Green Lake from the US, and Wednesday Deerfield from the US. Is it going to be another US scalp for Shiplake College from just down the river here, the next stretch of river below the lock? That's just down from where we can see the church there. Shiplake looking really strong. They've had a great entry this year.
Yeah, Shiplake again. These sort of local crews will know this piece of water very well. They've crews that gone forward in years before them also engraved their names on these trophies. And what's wonderful to see is every new kind of year that comes in, they want to add to that history and that legacy. And I think there's a real pride that sits with Shiplake, rightly so.
Well, Hugh Mackworth Pride is the head coach there, so pride is something that he's building into every single one of their crews. Pride in their technique, but pride in their ability to raise their game. But you've got to say, Marin are not giving up. Shiplake yesterday were down off the, or last time were down off the start and then came back through. And, well, I think Marin are trying to do the same thing to Shiplake. So what's going on in the heads of Shiplake as Marin have taken maybe 1 or 2 seats?
I know, and this is also where we haven't talked a lot about the impact of the cocks as well. The confidence and the reassurance that needs to come through a coxing voice at this point. When you've got a crew that could be inching back up on you, that's slowly taking sort of seat by seat, it's going to be how do you keep the minds of the athletes back in the boat, back in the technique, back in the focus, back in the race plan that they've talked about for weeks leading up to this.
Well, it's critical time for Marin, and actually they've done really well. As you said, Jackson Top of the Cox there is calling the men through, and a really coherent push here. Remember, this Marin crew, we've seen them through the week, have got 2 sets of brothers in the bow pair, Bach and Hugh Ryan, and in the middle of the boat, Ryan Jorgensen and a stroke, Travis Jorgensen. So there's some cohesion that goes there from having those siblings through the boat, and that bravery that we'd seen from them before really coming through now. They really are moving, but moving smoothly. Look at how that boat's running.
Yeah, and that's a wonderful thing when you're starting to pull back on a crew. It's again avoiding that tension, avoiding that tightness. You want the, especially come into these slightly blustery conditions, which it feels like it is calming a little bit, but just need to feel like you're closing in. It's not overly dramatic, not fireworks, but just shortening that gap.
So how do Shiplake respond to that big push? Have they kept their composure? Have they got enough left in the tank? We've probably got 400, 450 metres to go now as they approach the enclosures. Spectators will be rising to their feet, interested to see what's going on in this battle. We've seen so many of them in Henley between the US and the British. This is Shiplake representing the honour of their country. A couple of heads looking across to see what's happening in the Marin boat.
Yeah, and I think with a lot of the school level competitions, when we see the most sort of excitement coming from the crowds because there's so many parents are here, they're so proud. I talked to Luke Biker's parents just before the start, and yeah, there'll be intense viewing for anyone from these 2 crews. But it looks like Shiplake has responded. They soaked up that challenge that came down halfway down the course, and I think they're looking again. They've soaked up that challenge. They're stepping back in. They look confident coming into the crowds that they'll see as their own crowds.
So I think very mature from Shiplake. They kind of contained that pause by just holding, not doing anything crazy, and then they've just pushed away steadily at their own rhythm, really commanding and wise control. And we've seen stroke Luke Beaker there has been really mature throughout this regatta, and that's great reflection on the way that team works together. So it's Shiplake College, Finley Worthington, Freddie Middleton, Harrison Harper, Callan Wallace, Fred Fox, Sirich Churchley, Edward Floyd, Luke Becker and Charlie Heener coxing them towards the line. The last 5 or 6 strokes, a final push from the men from Marin. But today it's the stripes of Shiplake that take them through to the semi-finals of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup. The Brits prevailed over the US this time. Huge effort from both crews. Really an amazing, strong junior men's race.